The Spin-off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Kia ora, I'm Duncan Greive, founder of The Spin-off. You can help us keep all of The Spin-off's award-winning journalism free for everybody by becoming a member today at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
I could be anyone right now.
Yeah.
I could be a chuggy with a learner's license.
Wayne Brown would be so mad. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Welcome to The Real Pod in real life. My name's Jane Yee. Duncan Greive joins me here in the studio, as does the prodigal daughter returned, Alex Casey.
Hello. It's so good to be here.
Try speaking into the mic.
What do you mean?
It's all facing the other way.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It
It's been a while. What is that?
Stained.
Yeah.
Without an E.
Zurich is stained also. That's a pavement reference. I'm going to pavement tonight. You're going to Harry Styles tonight.
Harry Styles pavement. What are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm not doing either. I'm sort of the weird person that's somewhere between those two. Like I'm cleft in twain. There's a very small subset of us that'd be like which one to go to, and I'm going to neither because I have children. But I am going to My Chemical Romance on Saturday with both of you.
We all are.
And what a happy time it will be. If you see us, because I know some corns will be there, come say hi. Or come say...
Emoticons?
Emoticons, stop it. But come and say, I'm a corny, I'm sorry.
Yeah. We should have a tent.
Have I been on this podcast since I did my I went to Able and did like a speaking engagement, and it was festooned with so Able is, just to give a bit of context, they do accessibility for screen production stuff, truly the Lord Jesus' work. And there were just so many cornies there. I got a photo with them. It was just the loveliest time.
Were they there naturally, or were they there because they knew? Do you know what I mean?
Naturally
like,
occurring, or were they GMO corn?
Did they get wind of this thing that was happening at Able and come along, or are they able?
No, they're Able corns.
Able affiliated.
And was there anyone who was not a corn?
Channel.
Like, who was just standing to the side of that photo, or was that the entire gang?
No, there's like 40 people who work there, but there were like 6 corns. That's quite a high penetration.
Okay, I feel like there's a lead corn there that filtered out the pod to the others.
Maybe. Sophie Jones set the whole thing up, and she's definitely a corn. But they honestly felt like they were deep corns. They knew all the lore.
Don't like jelly and all that?
I don't know about don't like jelly.
On jelly, actually.
That's a deep corn.
Patrick Gower on jelly. I have to air out my dad straight away. He just did something really funny. My dad's been down for a few days. He'll be listening to this in the dead of the night, probably having a panic attack right now. He was going to bring us some chutneys. He makes a lot of chutneys, but he didn't bring them because he thought the security would think they were bomb jelly.
Oh, no, that's fair.
Yes, with bomb jelly.
Just try. He needs to take a little. He needs to be like the guys at the supermarket with the little tasters, and he'd be like, "Try it. Definitely not bomb jelly."
All the way down security.
That feels like a someone in your family thing to do.
Yeah, you wonder why I am the way that I am.
We actually don't.
For those of you who are wondering what we're talking about when we reference cornies, they are members of the Real Pod Corner. You can find a link to that it's a Facebook group where fans of the pod gather and talk about all sorts, and you can find a link in the show notes. There's also a link to our Discord where we do all sorts of chatting about all sorts of things. A lot of live watches. It was very active during the Treasure Island days that are now behind us.
Celebrities dwell, though.
Celebrities
will
dwell.
Will they stayeth?
Well, I think Maddie McLean was so excited by all the action in the cornfield that he's sworn that he will be back every season of Treasure Island to chat it, because he is obviously a big fan of the franchise. Cam Mansell's been in there, and I did promise him I would make an effort to pronounce his name right for going forth, and so I've done that, which is nice. Who else is in there? A few people from, a few of the fans who are not, I guess, technically.
Oh, the fans. Is Wardy in there?
Wardy's not, but Adam's in there. Katie's in there. So, get in and have a good old time. Okay? in the show notes where the links are. This is your reality TV recap podcast.
It's
Bit of real life.
exciting.
It's
I'm
so
sorry.
exciting.
It's so exciting to be back
You are
together.
beaming.
I'm buzzing.
And I think we need to start off with some old school real news now that we're back to just recapping one show a week. Leading the real news, the Northland Police have posted to their Facebook a cat. A cute, dumb cat. It was pitch black when loud banging and clanging could be heard outside a Northland home about 10:45 last night. The suspicious activity prompted a call to police. They arrived to find a cat with its head stuck in a very old school little aluminium teapot, having a hell of a time.
Because it'll be hyper-caffeinated.
It's just absolutely clanging about.
Oh, the poor
Poor
cat.
puss.
Big body, tiny head. I love to see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I mean-
a real Harry McCleary quality to the story.
I think that's true of most cats. It's just we don't often see their head wedged inside a teapot.
No.
But if you want to see that, go have a look at the Northland Police Facebook page. They used to look. To be fair, it was a pretty easy, a bit of a gimme of a pun. The cat was carefully extracted from the teapot without any catastrophe.
Very
and
nice.
Scampered off into the night uninjured.
I don't love it when the cops do puns.
Should be illegal. That should be the
Yeah,
one thing.
imagine
I assume
that.
they have diplomatic immunity for everything else, so that should be the one thing they can't
I don't
do.
think it's the
I don't know what diplomatic immunity is.
I quite like this, like all cops have. That doesn't
Well,
seem
they get free
fraught.
McDonald's.
That's crazy.
And
But are they
KFC.
still allowed that?
What?
I think so. I'm pretty sure there's like an unspoken rule. If this is
Unspeaking. Wow. She goes to Christchurch for 3 weeks.
It's all right. She's got
lost
she's got Christchurch immunity.
that cops, firefighters, and co get free chippies and stuff.
And sort of pop culture journo.
Okay,
Maybe.
How is Cam Mansell not signing up to newcops.com, to get those free nuggies?
To get the nuggies.
Mm.
And maybe he didn't know.
Maybe he doesn't.
Now he
It's a
does.
lovely story, that one.
I would like to tell you a story about me on the weekend. I went to a sports game.
Wow.
Went to the Breakers. It's been 10 years since I've been to a Breakers game. And I was back in the arena, baby.
I watched
Oh
that
my
on the
God.
TV.
Yeah, it was a really bad game and it's my fault.
It was a terrible game.
I jinxed it.
The Friday game was fantastical. This one, not so much.
I jinxed it real bad. So just by being there, that's for a start. But secondly, I was so excited because I was going with my best mates who are from Australia. They're returning to Australia this very day that we're talking on these microphones. So it was my last catch up with them. And I was really excited about getting
Are they Sydney-siders?
the Sydney siders.
Oh, no.
Well, they're Aucklanders.
Yeah, but who
live
was
in
it?
Sydney.
Were they supporting the Kings or the Breakers?
No, they've
What
got
is
it's
going
Tom
on?
Abercrombie's brother, if you don't mind. They're definitely supporting the Breakers. Just drop that in there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Hayden.
Hayden.
And
Yeah.
Fitch? No.
No, not that's.
That was
It's
really
good.
good.
You should try to sign up to the
So
cops social
stupid.
media page.
It's the delivery is I think particularly the real halting. Like, am I doing this delivery?
Anyway, the thing I was most excited about was just hanging with my mates and getting some yum arena food. Okay, so at one point we went and got beers and things.
How good.
And I was in charge of carrying the beers. And as I was carrying the drinks and I was pulling them away from the server, I said, I don't know if I'm the right person to be carrying.
No.
Immediately
No.
knocked the tray and like half a beer spilled out all over the place, all over the
Oh, just
floor.
half?
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. And then she was like, give that back to me and put kitty lids on them.
Yeah.
I also ordered fries and tenders. Went to take my seat and just dropped the whole lot on the floor.
But are they still good or
Did you
are they
floor
not still
suck?
good?
Well, Hayden kindly ate one right off the floor there and then gave me one of his ones as a make good.
One
Chippy
tender,
or
tender.
Tender.
Oh, that's
And then we
this,
sort of
yeah.
shared the
High
chippy. So
value.
that was very, very kind. But I real potted the thing I was most excited about.
And so you think your energy
my energy
was picked up by the Breakers?
There were many, many tens of thousands of people there and I fucked it.
Yeah.
Also, we got
you said
loaded.
that you jinxed it,
Yeah.
and I just can't stop thinking about the HBO program The Jinx and imagining you in the title
burping.
role.
Yeah, I was
just
burping away.
burping your way
The toilet.
just confessing terrible.
I killed the game.
I dropped the chips.
We also went to a place, everywhere was like absolutely stacked beforehand, right, with people who were going to the game, all the pubs and so on. We found a place that didn't have many people in it, terrible sign. Ordered some loaded fries, and they were just like shoestrings, not quite fully cooked, with a squirt of mayonnaise on top and a drizzle of like pre-grated Edam. And
No, not melted. just like-
$15. $15.
Oh, dear.
$15 is a funny price to complain about in
Nary
2023, I reckon.
nary a piece of bacon, not even sour cream. Just it was just a shocking night
Yeah,
for food.
but hey, you get a table quick smart. Even before the game.
Run, don't walk.
Alex, tell us about your plane journey up here.
Well, I got up at 5 a.m. this morning to catch a lovely flight here. You know, much like Dan, I have traversed waterfalls, climbed mountains, etc. to make it here today. The airport was great. It was full of teenagers dressed for Harry Styles already at 5 a.m., fluffy cowboy hats, outfits, the whole thing. And I was very tired and I was very distracted by everything that was going on. I was sitting in 29C, the very back of the plane. I didn't realise they had two different entrances for the front and the back, so I just followed everyone to the front. And the air attendant, what's the right word now? Flight attendant was like,
The cabin crew.
"Oh, you're gonna have a tough time. You're gonna have a tough time with this." And I was like, "What?" And then I looked down the aisle, and was like, "No!" Just hundreds of people coming my way. I was going against the tide. And you know, when you get on a plane, for a moment in time, you are the most famous person on the plane. You know, if you're walking down the aisle, all eyes on you. Same as if you get on a bus. This is how I think about it.
Wow, write this down. This is good content.
So it's all eyes on me, and I was like, I've got to give these people something.
Oh no.
No. What
I've
did
got to
you
give these people
real
something
boss?
because they were all like, oh my God, look at this idiot going against the tide, all the traffic, trying to get past everybody. And I just went, early mornings, am I right?
No!
Yeah, I went, early mornings, am I right? And then I kind of waited 3 or 4 rows and then did it again.
Yeah, because you've got a new crowd, right? They didn't hear the first delivery.
So you're essentially on tour, much like Harry Styles.
It's a private, you know, when they used
And
to
you're
do
in a
those
new
gigs.
location, and you just got to do
Yeah.
put the show on again.
Those gigs they do in the
how's
sky.
everyone doing?
Thanks you all
15
for
to
coming out
17.
tonight. Oh, it was like the last time I flew to Auckland, which was just after the floods. And so there was all these like urban search and rescue and first responders on the plane. And there was a row of them sitting in the emergency exit. And I was like, oh, this is brilliant. Here we go. And I was like, great to know we've got you guys there. And the guy was like, what? Is this your seat? And I was like, no, just good to know we got you guys there.
Got
And
the
he was
right
like,
people
oh,
on the right
I'm
seat.
dying.
okay. And I was like, see ya. I just need to stop the plane comedy.
No.
Nobody needs it.
No.
Nobody needs
I
it.
know.
Not at 5 a.m.
We need it, and I think everyone listening to this.
I just can't imagine you doing that. Is that new for you?
I don't know. I just feel this.
I can't imagine her doing anything
I want to just.
but
I want to just
No,
relieve
but the
the
first
tension.
responders thing is really.
Well, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah,
It
it
is,
was.
but
Because I
mean,
was like,
it-
there could be something being like, this is classic. We're in the emergency row.
Yeah,
You know? Is that not classic?
that is
It's
classic.
classic, yeah.
I don't know what's wrong
Maybe
with them,
it's
to be honest.
more of like a Seinfeldy observational bit that you do from the stage, you know? And I said, and then they said, no.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
good stuff, though. It's good
we'll
for a
work on that.
podcast. We should do a podcast. Oh, yeah.
And here we are. Anything happen from seat 1A for you, Duncan?
I went 1A to Christchurch and from Christchurch.
Yes.
You were 29C, Alex?
29C Jetstar. You're elite gold. Aaron Z, is that right?
Elite
Patriarchy
partner.
in-
Elite gold partner.
Action.
I am my dad's
Yeah.
wife. It's fine.
I'm my ex-husband's wife.
That's why.
I think mine's.
I'm elite partner too.
They're both pretty bad, eh? But yeah, I just went to Christchurch, drank 20 whiskies at Dramfest, and then big feed, sleep on the plane, swim, sober up, go to the Lord concert. What a wonderful
Wow.
day.
What was the big eat?
What-
Oh, I just mouthed fuck you. Me and Duncan are beefing at the moment.
yeah,
Continue.
we are.
Hi, Samuel.
Hi.
People need to know the
I want to know the nature of the feud.
psychodrama,
The melodrama.
melodrama that's escalating into psychodrama behind the scenes of this pod.
Oh, she should have called the next album Psychodrama.
Yeah.
That'd have been great. Still can.
Copyright this, but oh no, we can't
Can't
really
really
do
do
that,
that, can we?
can we?
Is that it then? Had a lovely weekend all's well?
Well, yeah.
Did you have a good time at the concert?
I had a lovely time at the concert. I had all 3 of my children there, which I think is a first. So that was nice.
None of you bringing children to my chem, though, are you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I'm going to.
Okay, good. Great. Just making sure we can have good old-fashioned adult fun.
Yeah. What the hell are you talking about?
Don't know. I think we should do reality check right now.
I have 4 weeks to decide if I'm going to drop my entire blind figure.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
Friends and Family Week. I'm Married at First Sight. We're up to week 764 and we're halfway through. Janelle and Adam have left the experiment.
Before then, we just have to talk about and acknowledge the fact that we are living in the greatest ever time.
Yeah, we are.
And we do say this every time.
But it gets better
But it
every
gets
time.
better every time.
But right now, I can't imagine it escalating from here.
I know.
I was just shrieking for 3 hours last night watching this television program.
It's true. I'm when you get halfway through the experiment, it's a really, really good season. You do already start grieving for what you know can't possibly be this good next season. You already start getting the anxiety. I was in exactly the same place this week.
That's exactly right. And because Treasure Island was masterful, beautiful finale. Alex Casey didn't even bother to watch it.
I skimmed through.
But this season of MAFS, there's not a frame that I'm not enthralled by. And the new draw,
Evelyn. All hail Queen Evelyn.
And all hail Rupert's butt.
Where would we be without Rupert's butt? We lamented last week about the fact that they don't send cameras out to these social evenings. If a camera had been there, Dan wouldn't have done what he did. But to save the day.
But to save the day!
End of sentence. Wow. Truly just a magical week that would have been very, very different were it not for Rupert's bottom. But anyway, we go back to the commitment ceremony. Janelle and Adam have left. Dan admits he's not sexually attracted to Sandy, which is a shock to us all because Dan's such a nice guy.
He's such a nice guy. We've never had any reason to doubt Dan.
Jessie tries to leave Claire, but Claire wants to stay, and it's really awkward and awful, and surely they can't come back from this. And my personal favourite moment, Harrison trying to mansplain Bronte's
Oh my God.
Harrison is getting buried under Dan, but it's not okay.
When he sat down, he couldn't even say endometriosis right because he added two extra dodos in there somehow. And then he started fake crying. It's so hard to see her like that.
And it's really hard for me to see her like that.
I haven't been going to the gym. It's extraordinary.
Just the way that Harrison, because he had this pre-marriage persona that literally lasted till the day of his wedding, which is I fuck. That is my whole personality. And now, he's been talking about his journey and changing from I know that the show has been on for a long time, but it's only 2 weeks since he was just the worst guy for his whole life. And now suddenly he's weeping at the thought whoa, Harrison, dude.
When he sat down and was like, look, I don't want to have to be a spokesperson for endometriosis. It's okay, cool, don't.
No one is asking for that.
Nobody's asking that. But I loved how the experts, John was just like, I don't think you're being real with us. Stay or leave. He was kind of creeped out by it.
Were we not all?
But the thing is Ollie's face, Leighton's face. I mean, later on, we're going to get to Jesse's face during the Dan era, which is just was that Dali too? What was happening to it? There was so much going on.
Imagine, if you will, Al in here during this time. What would his face be doing?
Eyes would have fallen out.
Eyes would have popped out.
Yeah. They would have had to rush him to hospital.
Either that or he wouldn't have really understood what was going on and he would have just offered up a shoey. Okay, so we may as well talk about Harrison and Bronte because look,
perplexing cup.
I'm not loving Bronte anymore. Like, I was really into her, and now I'm annoyed by the fact that she is so defensive of Harrison's bad behaviour. And it's only going to hurt her. But she seems slightly sort of, she loved the idea of him going and being the spokesman for this woman's, medical issue. She's just lapping it up. She's lapping up all the lies, and he's just so, I don't know. It's like the camera's there, and he's like, darling, can I get you a coffee in the morning?
Is this love bombing? Is he doing, like, he's done the gaslighting, he's worn her down, and now he's like, she's got endometriosis. Great, I've got something I can dote upon for a time.
Absolutely he is, but they meet up with the...
I don't know.
They meet up... Do you think he's genuine?
Are you about to do a defense of Harrison?
No!
Is that Cody?
Cody part two.
I should do some more high wire acts like that. No, I think that, like, she finds Harrison ridiculous, but she enjoys being on the television program. Like, I truly, like, given all that they've been through and he is the worst actress. He is the most comprehensively, everything you see is liar. Like, there's just no way that she is buying it. And she seems, like, detached from it.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's fallen for it. I think the way that she defended him when her sister was in town.
Kira needs to be subbed into the show.
Yeah.
So cool.
Amazing. And what were his friends? These two muscly
I know.
blokes in grey tees on either side. So good.
His henchmen. I just think that she, I think she's someone who's been hurt a lot, and she just really wants it to work. And so she's choosing what to believe. And I think she's choosing to believe that he's redeemed himself. The way that they talked about having hot sex at the dinner, because this is the first time. Remember, the sex thing was like a really big deal. There was that weird encounter at the beginning we never
Hot
got
sex!
to the bottom of.
Exclamation mark at the dinner.
There's a lot of that.
I think she wants to be on telly.
Yeah.
And she's just sticking it out.
I think it's a combination
Yes.
of both, but she can be on the telly without. I don't know. There's not a lot of drama going on between them. If she wanted more airtime, you've got to walk the line between saying,
But
stay,
she
I
might
want to
think
work
they've
on it.
become the Cam and Jules. We don't know
my
what
God.
she thinks
So
they are.
that's Nikki's theory, is that they think they're the main characters and the stars of the show, when actually they're sort of increasingly shunted to the sidelines. They're kind of unaware of just the absolute volcanic eruptions happening over the other side of the island.
But it doesn't stop Harrison chiming in thousands of times at the dinner party, like from way down there. It's like all the cameras, the mics, the lighting is on him, and Harrison's like, but what about smoke and mirrors? And you're like, shut up.
I've got a terrible take.
Yeah. I just like to step in for my friend Dan here.
This is the point at which every other bloke at the table is being like, I'm stepping away from being friends with Dan. And Harrison's like, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in. If anything, he should just be letting Dan take all the heat, because as much as anyone else is looking like a dickhead, it takes the light off, his bad behaviour.
There's a chance that we remember this season for Dan,
I know.
not Shannon. Like, that's how good of a job Dan is doing.
Oh my
just
God.
having this, just incredible gravitational pull.
In that moment, I was just like, who's
Forgot
Shannon?
Shannon.
Like, who? What are you talking about? Who's Shannon? His partner's not Shannon, it's Sandy.
And Adam who at this point?
Adam did it. It was the way that Adam left, and everyone's just like, "See ya."
Yeah.
Like, it's like we haven't even really talked about it. He's just such a creature by the end, but like so thin, just nothing you can grab hold of with that man.
Hey, how many lovely ladies this season though?
Oh.
It's just how many lovely ladies have been matched with absolute dropkicks this season.
It's a classic formula.
It is, but I mean, I think we've seen some pretty. We have seen some awful behaviour from women before as well. We're not really getting that, aside from a little bit of a touch from Taylor.
And like Everyone versus Claire. But even that, they resolved it, they got through it.
Claire's an absolute normie. Like, she fucked
Totally,
up. But
yeah.
she's like, she cannot have proven herself remorseful and committed to this more than she has.
This is all true. The thing that's different about this season, or feels that in terms of the woman side of it, is bar that little isolated incident where sort of Alyssa and Janelle to some extent explicably were going at Claire. the women have hung together and looked out for each other. And like you've seen like Melinda and Evelyn in particular, who need like a spin-off show prosecuting something. But like that is the big difference, is that there are these bad guys. Just, you know, the monster of the week theory was never more true than this week. Go read Alex's story on that if you haven't already. But that's the thing that's different, and it makes the show both incredibly toxic and horrible, but somehow not quite as bad and sort of queasy as some other seasons.
Yeah, the women are doing a good job. I think especially we've probably seen a lot more in the past of people who have been taken more the Sandy approach, like they get shut down and they don't. You're right there.
It's good Foley, isn't it?
It is. There's water
sorry.
going into a glass, just to be
Touched.
clear. You know, we're seeing women who are speaking up on behalf of other women who perhaps that's just not their natural way. And God, it's
so
such good television. Who do we go to next? Should we go sort the week from the chaff? Melinda and Leighton. They've come a long way. They're having a lovely time together. Their families seem to be all on board. They're arranging Christmas, except Melinda did say, "Do I make you Randy, baby?"
I wrote that down too.
Yeah.
But you'd love that,
Epic
right?
misquote. It's
Yeah.
not Randy.
Well, no, it's not.
But maybe that's like copyright thing. Maybe you can't actually say it on.
Well, you are going to jail.
yeah, I say it every day.
No, I mean that was, but yeah. Well, look, it was.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was cute. The only thing she did say that they were almost 99% good for each other, except that they can't talk or something. It was like quite.
Yeah,
it was like
quite a bad
That seems like
thing.
quite a big last mile.
I just love Melinda after, I think it was after Harrison did his performance on the couch. You know, she's just so good at just being like, what were those waterworks? You know, like she just takes everyone down. Did not know she was going to be like that going in, that she would kind of be the Tim Canterbury or the Jim Halpert of the room, you know, who's like seeing all the chaos and kind of relaying it. Love it.
Yeah, I am on board with your idea of Melinda and Evelyn having a Judge Judy style love court and just being super savage with all the bullshit. Like cut the shit. Just
Cut the shit. I don't want to be that chick.
Let's talk about Evelyn and Rupert. I know Evelyn plays a much bigger role in Sandy and Dan's story, but we'll just quickly go through Evelyn and Rupert's story. This is kind of like Evelyn is amazing.
Evelyn is Lady Duncan.
The other Duncan.
Yeah, not me.
But almost beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah. Well, but there's a ceiling on how good a guy can be, and it's Duncan, and that she's.
Yeah, she's gone beyond, and I'll tell you why, because I think Duncan's got a lovely wife who he's really into, and Evelyn's got Rupert, who is a lovely fellow, but
Is he?
but he's not without his difficulties, and she's just really she's never said a bad thing.
No.
She's kind of been frustrated that he's not wanting to be more intimate with her and more open and more vulnerable, but she hasn't taken him down in any of the ways that might otherwise seem obvious.
Like imagine Taylor with Rupert. He'd just be
shocking.
destroyed. And I love how it's like even the experts are having more fun with them when they were on the couch and they were like, look at your body language, Rupert. And he's like, oh, sorry. And then just kind of slapped her on the thigh. And then John was like, no, that doesn't look right either. And they're all just kind of laughing. He's an interesting character.
But she's in it, but I'm sure she's enjoying her time on the telly as well. But it doesn't feel like the same energy of I'm faking it. It's like she really just is like, I'm going to give this a shot and I'm going to try and work on this fellow and see where we end up. But
did you know she was on Big Brother 2018?
No, because she's
And it's
poised.
Yeah, so she's got camera time, of course, as a model as well. But she had a big anime, big blue tattoo sleeve when she was on Big Brother. She looked quite different. I'd look it up if I were you.
and it's gone. Has she lasered that away?
To my eyes, it's gone.
Wow.
I like the way she looks at Rupert so much. It's like she's got this kind of sort of scientist looking at a rare specimen, just this kind of quizzical, like, what is this? This is fascinating.
Yeah.
And Rupert's just sitting there like, I think I done toilet in my pants, kind of. It's real amazing faces between the two of them.
When she was going through all the ways that Rupert wakes her up in the morning with a flashlight in her eyes or a scalding hot coffee in the hand. It's just like, is he an alien? Like, is there actually a chance that we've got our first alien groom?
I reckon it could be 3 children in a Rupert suit. Like, there's something fucking so childlike about his face, this kind of blank,
Of course, they have to catch up on lost time, and they're doing intimacy week and like all at once, and they have a melty hug. And she's like, well, what's your favourite hug position? He's like, adult hug.
Yeah.
And she's just like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, sex.
But also, it clearly isn't, because he hasn't been like going in for the kill.
He
She's
makes
like
a lot of
super up
sex
for it.
jokes for the most sexless
I
man on the planet.
think that's his way of trying to be confident. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be forward, I'll make some sex jokes.
And then he tried to neg her after the melty hug, being like, did you put deodorant on this morning? It's like, Rupert.
Come on, dude.
But even then, she's just like, oh, God, okay, we have to work on this.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
doesn't get pissed with him.
It's amazing. She's incredible.
She is incredible. I think she's my favourite person. And she's
Ever.
only been
Yeah.
here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's like if you were ranking humans, she's got a real good, strong shot at being number one.
Yeah.
Out of 8 billion.
Yeah, she really does.
Do you find it hard staying optimistic with all the financial news in the media? I'm Bernard Hickey, and on my podcast, When the Facts Change, I'm here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of economics in Aotearoa. So join the conversation every Friday on When the Facts Change, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with KiwiBet.
Kia ora, this is Toby Manhire, here to urge you to tune in to Gone by Lunchtime, a podcast with me, Annabelle Lee Mather and Ben Thomas, tackling the world of New Zealand politics, from policy to polling, from scandal to psychodrama. Listen to Gone by Lunchtime, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network, wherever good pods are sold.
Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, senior writer at The Spin-Off. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Cameron and Lyndall, it's been a bit bumpy. He didn't want to hug her when she wanted a hug, and Mum was on the FaceTime.
Oh, yeah.
It's a frosty week.
I feel like I want to watch that exchange because I can kind of see both sides of it. But it all blew up in the commitment ceremony, and then he got her some lovely big flowers, which is nice. But then the mothers turn up.
Mother of the week.
Wow.
His mum.
Oh, she was like auntie from the word go. Lyndall's mum, by the way, very stylish, very cool.
Really? Yeah.
And she came in wanting to apologise for hurting Cam's feelings, but Cam's mum's just yuck. She just like walks in and like,
hates the
Sydney's
city.
depressing.
She loves the beers, though.
I know, she was absolutely smashing per se.
And then Cam says to Lyndall, his mum reckons that her wanting affection is a sign of insecurity.
Oh, and that's one that you might want to keep to yourself. Leave that one on the balcony.
Balcony time.
Maniac. Well, and it's like, it's just, there's a reason you've been single so long. Like, I feel like Mum is just like, I do not want there to be a second most important woman in your life.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
like, let's just chase them away.
They made it clear that Mum was coming in on the defence because Cam had shared about the exchange with Lyndall's mum. So there was the tension of the two mums in the room. But she did nothing to be like supportive of him being an experiment or setting him up for any sort of success with Lyndall. And it's like she walked in and basically was like, this is not you. It's
She was
like,
like,
bed. Yuck.
Yeah.
You like to sleep on the beach. Like, it's the whole thing was just, I don't know.
Yeah, even when poor Lyndall's mum did a proper apology in person.
Lovely apology.
And the other mum was just knocked back a crow and was like, yeah, but you can't take words back. And it's like, also what you're taught, the crime is not that bad.
No.
She just was like, maybe give your wife a hug when she's upset. You've been together for a
Yeah,
month. It's not
totally.
the craziest suggestion.
Do you know, I'm coming to realise Cam is not ready to be married and his mum is
No.
not ready for him to be
But
married.
Cam's actually doing spectacularly well. When you look at the source code,
Yeah, that's true.
the fact of him just being able to walk around and not just like immediately just blow up whatever situation he's in is just an extraordinary triumph of the human spirit.
But they've got to stop putting people on this show who have literally never dated before and taking them straight to marriage.
I don't know.
I mean,
feel
it's good for the telly.
Cam's actually done fine.
He's done fine, but I can't. I'd be very surprised. At the beginning, I was like, these guys are going all the way to, they're going to be in the Notebook. But I don't feel like that anymore. I feel like I'd be very surprised if this works out between them post-show. It's another woman teaching a man how to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
You can feel as well, it's like that little aside that she said at the end of the fight where she's like, well, I believe my mum because my mum's a good person.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that?
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
ooh, that was a bit
Yeah.
barbed.
That was quite
that was
pointed.
Yeah.
quite rough. But then I want to Kim's credit, like the fact that he did that wasn't the end because
Yes.
with the super controlling mum and the sort of fierce loyalty he feel that I was like, oh, this is done. This is finished. Let's leave.
But do you not also think, oh, wait till mum sees this on the telly? This is going to be, if they're still together at the end of this, she's going to try very hard for that not to be the case after she's
Oh
witnessed
my
this in
God!
the
Do
playback.
not go north. Have you seen Wolf Creek? Like that's what's coming to you, young Lyndall.
But they do good conflict resolution, these two. So there is some semblance of hope. Speaking of conflict resolution, Jessie and Claire.
Oh my God.
What a turnaround.
I feel like I'm in love with Jessie now. Is that normal?
I also am. Like, how is this his arc from the beginning when we all hated him?
Incredible.
I don't
just
even believe it's
cracks
the same
open.
person.
And
been
just
unlocked.
seeing him like a baby born, going, just sort of unsteady legs going out into the world.
But also Claire trying so hard
So
to the
hard.
point where it was like actually quite funny. Like when they went to the guitar shop and she's like, turn it up. And I was like, you just stop trying to be like cool.
I know.
She's like, I
Also,
love this song.
Terrible music. I mean, like he's always very good at guitar, but geez, it sounded bad.
It's a very authentic effort from her, which
Yes.
I think is, it's just so in contrast to almost every other kind of person trying to make things right that we've seen on this show. He starts the week wearing a Satan t-shirt.
God, and like
mask.
a Johnny
Mask
Darko.
and the Johnny
What the
Darko
hell
mask.
was that?
And then he ends it by popping a wee crystal from her and saying it's special and popping it under his pillow.
Sweet
How did this happen in just
man.
1 week? I think we all have Claire's lovely dad to thank for this.
Oh my God.
He came in and
What
did
could he
a
not
full
solve?
bloody
We
flip
need
on
to
it.
get this
He
man
could be in the love
to a
court.
conflict zone
He could
right
be in the
now.
court with he could be like the mediator
Yeah.
with what's her name?
With Melinda and Evelyn.
Because there was also this constant reference to like he's broken some hearts and has had his heart broken. He's lived 1,000 lives. I was like, I need to know about Papa Lee.
Because the great thing here, of course, is that he says to her, I'm disappointed. Like your behavior, he doesn't excuse her behavior, but he says, I think, there's a base that you can come back from here. If you both, I can't make you and I can't tell you what to do, but if you're willing to try, there is hope. And he just handled it the right way. He didn't just sort of downplay what she did. It was the appropriate gravitas given
But the
to
confidence to grab the chap hand
So
and
sincere.
that's not you. Like that's what he needs to hear is this is aberrant. This
Yeah.
isn't form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny when he was they were all holding hands and he was like, this is real. This is real. I was like, this is maybe the least real thing you can do as a person.
They also played some squash, which is interesting because I've been thinking about squash a lot more lately since spending time with the four-time world squash champion Dame Susan Du Bois.
course.
And I just think the squash court looks really like stuffy and gross.
I definitely had a realization where I was watching that and I was like, I know nothing about squash.
You got to get it
I've
on top of
never-
the line, don't you? It's like a pretend
Between
net.
the lines, I think.
Between the lines.
So you just play yourself or you play someone else against a wall.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Well, you
Maybe we should get into it.
Bray and Jack Tamer, that's how their romance began. So,
Wow.
you know.
Were they both starting from nothing? Like as
No,
if
I
me and
think,
Alex? Okay.
well, I tried, I don't know. I should have asked them about that on the Fold podcast.
You should have. You're really
available at
missing
all
the mark there,
podcast
the
providers.
brief of your podcast remit there. So, okay, Tanya and Ollie, lovely chap and chappette, having a lovely time together.
Can I just say, when Ollie did the mafia voice, how did he make that cool? But he did.
Because he's a voiceover artist.
He does it for a crust.
That's his job.
The big question I have with those two this week is they've adopted 13 fish
14, was it?
from Janelle and
I
Adam.
know.
So how did those two come into having 13 fish?
Look, it was a different time. It was before we knew that Adam was a dick, and they obviously went fish shopping at some point. What sort of freedoms do they have to just like pop out to a pet
Just
shop?
go out and buy fish when you're on MAFS.
Well, bloody, if you're Dan, you can go to, you're doing an ultra marathon every day.
I just have to wonder, like, were they prizes? You know? Is that what he's giving away?
Those fish are on the blockchain for sure.
Who haven't we covered? Taylor and Hugo. They move in together.
Oh my god.
He says it would be really nice if I could have some time in a bed. She says, no, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I really don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm not going to take those into account, actually. She's nothing if not honest. They do the photo ranking, and she at first doesn't see his picture on the table, much like how she forgot his name at the ceremony.
She's got like this like auto delete from her field of vision.
She's asked if she finds any part of him attractive, and she ums and ahs for about 24 minutes and then says, yes, his height. So, tick.
And before this, there was that beautiful scene, because I feel like it's material feeding into this, was when they were dividing up the wardrobe and she gave him like the internet coverage for his clothes.
So
she
savage.
did put him first in the photo challenge. Like
Fake.
But
of
it's
course
just like,
it is. But she heard us because we said it doesn't really matter. Even if you don't find your person attractive at all, still put them first. Just do that to save the fight.
But
you
there's
know?
limits, right? Like I think that's true if you've got a good relationship or even a mediocre relationship. But when you've spent the whole time saying, you're disgusting, like I feel nauseous when I even sense that you're within 30 meters of me, you can't put them first. Like you lose that right.
He suggests it's a pity throwdown. It 100% is. But even if it is, I still think there's something in her that knows this is the right thing I should try to do. Because I was wondering if that existed in her at all. He puts her second last.
Which I also don't like.
No.
I don't like the spiteful placement either. It's
No.
not within the scope of this particular
No.
experiment. It's the hot or not challenge.
Yeah. Well, also, it is the hot or not challenge. But, okay, that's so rude to lovely Sandy that, like, you've got, like, literal Satan. You're trying to take into account literal Satan's, like, whole vibe and behavior towards you, but still ahead of one. But, like the difference between second to last and last is not material at this point.
And also, how much was he influenced by his night out with Dan when he was doing that photo placement and putting Sandy down the end there? I don't know which took place first, but just putting it out there.
The thing that's like really awful about this is that she has spent the whole time just being like just completely psychologically destructive to him. But you also knew that with that one thing that she could then tell everyone that was going to be enough for her to basically be able to play victim from here on out. And then obviously there was more to come, courtesy of a certain butt.
It was amazing how she like genuinely seemed unwell after that photo challenge. Like she had a toothache, but she like looked like she was dying on the bed. She was like, I just can't believe you'd do this to me. And she was green.
Well, this is not someone who's ever used to being told the bottom of the pile in attractiveness.
True.
And it probably was a huge shock to the system. She sees things very much in black and white.
Well, she doesn't see things at all when she's
'cause
chatting
she's
to
the eye
Rupert
mask.
because she's wearing an
Yeah.
eye mask. So I can't even look at you.
And Hugo said, another day of her acting like someone's pissed in her cornflakes.
It's such a good saying. I have
Really
to say.
good.
I just love, like, when she's like, she talked about Cam being funny as well, and he's like, oh, I wonder what it's like to be funny. It's like, that's my whole fucking thing. mate.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I do one-liners. That's what I do.
and funny.
So there's a big blow up at the cocktail party because of the butt dial situation. Apparently, Hugo said he couldn't stand Taylor, and it is rumoured that he called her a see you next Tuesday. He denies it, but he does admit that he did say he couldn't stand her, and perhaps could have been matched with literally anyone else, and it would have been better.
Him in the moments there. That was really quite something.
He was completely like, there was a moment where I think he pulled somebody aside and was like, is this real? Is this
I know,
actually-"
I
He was
know
like, is this
that
actually happening? Is this real?
He was like having a psychic break.
Or maybe like to the point where you think you're in like living the dream and you are in a show that has been entirely engineered around you as the normal person. Like, I think that's within Hugo's.
Yeah.
That's within
That's
what's
a
happened to Hugo.
fair question
Yeah.
for Hugo based on like, you're there with human Barbie who is just doing torture chamber stuff on you and then somehow has the moral high ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's I don't know if everyone else in the experiment understands the way that she's been treating him.
Nah.
Because if you were to just base it on what we hear delivered on the couch and at the dinner parties, there's no reason for them to believe she's been as atrocious as she actually has been. And yet now she's got this just unfortunate, this is the unfortunate side of the butt dial where it feels like someone who really had a real reason to kind of be
Needed
upset.
event.
Was exposed, and then there's Dan.
Bad butt.
At least with Hugo, you kind of felt like the rest of the group were like, Hugo, what got you to that point where you were that angry? Like, trying to get it, but she would just cut him off.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't get to talk. And it's like, whoa.
Well, and when they see that, there's like definitely like, I mean, that sounds bad what Hugo did, but also, whoa.
Yeah. And Taylor says, she's like, I've had your back the entire
I know.
experiment.
What is she talking about?
It's just
I've had your back on a squab next to the window.
And she's twisting the kind of the bed thing, like the sleeping arrangements. She's like, yeah, okay, we butt heads on the sleeping arrangements, but I don't feel ready. It's like, no, you say he doesn't deserve a bed.
Yeah.
It's not about that he wants to sleep with you because he wants to get it on. He just is like, my back's killing me. I'd love to have an afternoon nap on the bed. Don't go near my bed. You worthless piece of not what I asked for, And it's, I'm hopeful that she's going to get pulled up in the commitment ceremony because it does look like the expert's going to take her to task. But that Hugo also, a little bit like blindsided, obviously, and then tried to, I don't know, like just gather his thoughts. Then he, Claire, at the table when talking to Dan, explained how he should apologise, how he should handle this situation. Hugo immediately takes that advice on board for himself and does the right thing, apologises, owns his bad behaviour. And I'm like, well done. Well done, good sir. That's going to work well for you. Sandy and Dan.
Oh my God.
We don't have a lot of time here, guys.
We don't. Okay.
The man needs 7 hours a day to go running, hiking, swimming, kayaking, and he's got no time for his wife. That was the big revelation at the start. The day spa. That's what we never knew this about Dan up until this week, right? We didn't know that he was just leaving for 7 hours a day and not texting and seemingly locking Sandy in the room and then accusing her of just watching TV all day.
I know, but no, he's not curious about what she actually does.
No.
But he's just got this vibe. It vibes like that. The other thing that was wild about him, I mean, like she's so articulate. We've had so many incredibly articulate women scorned on this show, from Caitlin and to Sandy. But when she was sort of saying, me time, like we're doing separate things, and I might like to do my emails or whatever, and you need to do, and he's like, no, when we do our me time, it must be the exact same thing. I like to get into the ocean. Who was the couple with the like, I'm 10 foot tall when I stand on my wallet? Dion, and because it's a really similar dynamic. It's like
he doesn't like to have breakfast.
Yeah, totally. I like to listen to hip hop music. He likes to. It's this very kind of like critique that is a not particularly well veiled reference to something else, but just a horrible man.
And he was just doubling down and down and down. Before we even got to the butt dial revelation, they kept having these fights round and round in circles about this incompatibility, this me time, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he went on this insane monologue and ending with, I'm in beast mode. And I was like, who the fuck are you? Like, literally,
it's like he's like this elite athlete.
Yeah.
I do agree that they're incompatible.
Yeah.
Nice lady, horrible man. That's an incompatibility right there. I do understand if someone's very active and someone is not, that can be something that can be tricky. But
I don't think so.
But not like relationship breaking. It's just something that, they have their me time to do their respective me things. Then they come together and do the things they do enjoy doing together, whether it be watching a movie, going out for dinner, whatever. Obviously not swimming in the ocean. She's got a fucking medical condition that prevents her from being able to do that. And this is suddenly his make or break.
But he's a merman, so
it's true.
He really needs that time.
What you say is 100% on the button, Duncan. Correct assessment. He's just using that. He's using the sea as an excuse because he just is not attracted to her, doesn't like her, thinks he's better than her. And he's stated all this in the infamous butt dial call.
Incredible.
Look at these hot chicks. It's like, Jesus Christ,
This is also why it was so poetic that it was Evelyn that heard this, because Evelyn is the most beautiful woman on the planet. She is probably the exact type of woman that Dan thinks he deserves, And so for her to just dismantle him in front of everybody and then pull him aside and dismantle him again.
Yeah.
Perfect television.
Do you... Also, I mean, has he seen his wife? Sandy is a raging fucking babe. What is wrong with him? It's just
so
wild.
much. I thought one of the like an underrated moment of just mind blowing television was the Family and Friends thing where he brings his mate Georgia along. G, hey G, should we go have a chat outside on the deck? And she basically just praises him as Jesus too, even better. And she's like, and he just like, he's like, yeah, you're so right. You're so right. I'm just the best guy. And then it's like the relationship, and basically says, I want to be in a relationship with you, my mate who says I'm awesome.
Yeah.
And not my wife. And it's just like, this whole thing is so foul.
It's awful, and I feel for Sandy in so many ways because let's not forget what she has actually sacrificed to be here. She has sacrificed her relationship with her parents. This is like the ultimate thing that she didn't want to happen, and it's happened in such a spectacularly awful way. And then at the dinner party, he then exposes that they'd had sex as well, which...
But the way he delivered that line.
He said that.
And I know that some could argue that in an experiment like this is something that does come up, but it's for the experts or for her to talk about because this is a cultural sensitivity for her. It's different than someone who's just like, you know, like old mate, what's his name? Josh, who just didn't really like talking about sex so much.
Yeah.
It does feel a bit different to that because there's a whole nother layer, and given what she's been through with her parents that he knows about, and he knows about the cultural sensitivity around this, it's super fucking yuck.
It was crazy watching him just go through his like Rolodex of things he could possibly do to deflect. Like first he just said no. Then he tried to turn it around on Evelyn and say that the butt dial did not happen and the conversation didn't happen. I did feel slightly disappointed that not more of the boys came in to corroborate like what was going on.
Yeah, even Duncan, his sort of thing was a bit weak. Like, yeah, things could have been said in a slightly better way,
But
maybe.
that's really Duncan. He's a bit. You're right in terms of like Evelyn shows you that there is air above Duncan in terms of the high character, and just the whip smart intelligence of her.
And the way she just eats as she's talking to him. Like, you know, we see people get fired up, like, because someone at the other end is gaslighting them, telling them that call didn't happen, you're lying. And she's like, it did happen.
Yeah.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, come on, tell us what you said. Like,
Amazing.
She's just got this incredible air about her. Dan takes Sandy aside, tries to talk to her, basically pulls his shit out, his Rolodex, and then she falls for it, seemingly.
Yeah.
Then Evelyn has a talk to him, and she's not buying that
She's
shit.
not buying any
but
of
it comes back. It all comes back up at the table, and Sandy gets fired up again, as she should. So it's like he knows that he's got this over her, that he has this kind of arsenal of you know, terms and phrases and things that he can use on Sandy and say the right things. But she's got enough seed of doubt now that when other people are in the room and can kind of affirm what she's worried about, then, you know, and so I'm hoping again at the commitment ceremony that she's had a few conversations with her girlfriends and that John and Mel and Alessandra can steer her in the leave direction.
And take Dan to task. I did love the phrase when he was just like, I'm into Sandy. I love Sandy. And he was like, you love Sandy? He's like, well, no, but
I love her.
I didn't slander Sandy.
The ultimate sign of love. Have we missed anyone? Or is it everyone? It's everyone on my list.
I think it's everybody.
If we've missed anyone, it's 'cause
I mean,
they're doing
Alyssa and
something.
Duncan.
Oh,
but
yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
Fine, happy, all good. The only thing about Alyssa and Duncan I'm slightly worried about is when Alyssa's mum came and was like, I just wonder why he's still single. And I'm just hoping, because we've had Monsters of the Week every week, I'm just hoping that is not a foreshadowing of some sort.
Yeah, there's. I mean, it's the question we all ask is like, how is this top ranked man somehow who just seemed he there is no, you can't find a thing to grab hold of and say this could be the way. And with Dan, you're right. I mean, that just to you made this point when we were in the kitchen beforehand where like Dan's whole face changed.
Yeah,
like it's real. Like I almost don't feel like I can recognize the relaxed, benevolent soul who came in versus this eye-twitching, like furious, like pinned, just the whole thing.
And when we think back to his wedding ceremony and his friends who were racist, I think we let them off too easy. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like we didn't like it when they said it. They made a turnaround and we kind of went, okay, well, maybe that's not representative of him. I feel like it's representative of him. Without, you know, I feel like the company you keep says a lot about you. And if that's the sort of messaging he's getting in his ears, more yuck upon yuck upon yuck. I really hope he goes home this week. I really do.
hope so too.
That's us.
I want a new groom for Sandy, though. Maybe she gets to go with Caitlin and they can have their redemption season, you know?
Maybe they can go to the court of love.
Yeah.
The idea of this is season 10, right? Like the idea of a sort of MAFS All-Stars redemption season doesn't seem crazy out of if there are people who are single and got a real tough suck of the sad.
The problem with that is the nice people all getting together and having nice relationships.
not what we
man,
want.
what a good telly.
That's true.
Could throw
true.
a few firecrackers in there. NASA.
I mean,
Captain Underpants.
Dan's kind of got the NASA in it because NASA was like everything was fine until it wasn't. Like just one week, suddenly out of nowhere, he was a jerk, and that was the real him, you know.
Yeah.
And by jerk, that's not an award, NASA, if you're listening. It's not a good thing.
This is like calling right now to accept it.
Okay, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you to the Cornies. Thank you to the spin-off members. If you want to become a spin-off member, you should.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's a great time.
We're writing postcards at the moment, and you could get one.
You could. You also could get your video message from your Team Jane thing, which is I've put it in the diary for tomorrow. I have put it. It's the real pod way. I've put it in the diary for tomorrow. I've booked the studio to record them in here. It's going to happen. I promise you. Thank you, Samuel, for recording. And we'll catch you guys next week. Find out who the new monster of the week is.
Are you curious about how business can be better? I'm Simon Pound, and I host Business is Boring, a podcast where I kōrero with some of the most interesting people in entrepreneurship, commerce, and making things happen. Tune in to Business is Boring every Tuesday, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with Spark Business Lab.
Kia ora e te iwi, Te Aihe Butler here, podcast manager at The Spin-Off. If you enjoy listening to our podcasts, consider supporting our mahi by signing up to become a Spin-Off member at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
The Spin-Off Podcast Network.